It's real breakfast hours.
Eat breakfast if you up.
Today's breakfast is... I had an English muffin with an egg, some pineapple, and a slice of bacon, and a cup of coffee.
I had a 4-egg omelet made with black olives, bacon, and provolone cheese, as well as an English muffin, a cup of coffee, and some orange juice.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Breakfast Hours.
Finally, we've made it.
We're
Round
back.
6. Two hands, baby.
2 hands, and we're so sorry. We've had an extended break.
Almost 3 weeks. I think it was 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
No, we didn't record last Saturday.
Yeah.
Or the Saturday before.
That was 2 weeks.
Okay, so there's a 2-week gap. This is now the third week.
But you're gonna get it. So we're here.
It's coming.
We'll get into
why
there was such a long break. But first, let's see those viewer-submitted breakfasts, shall we?
Oh, hold on. First, you're going to have to deal with the beeping of the coffee maker.
Thank you, coffee maker. Very cool.
Thank you, coffee maker. We appreciate your hard work. But viewer breakfasts first, or second now, I suppose. So we've got a good handful of them this time. Maybe 4 or 5 in total. We'll start with a submission from a longtime viewer. Grenjamin, Grenule.
Okay.
Greninja, he submitted last week, or I guess a couple weeks ago now, but he has some maple syrup waffles with hash browns, chorizo, and Italian sausage. Looks pretty good there.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, that looks like something I would love to eat. Next, we have one from another viewer who has been here before, but I don't think he submitted yet. This is some open-faced waffle sandwiches with over-easy eggs, bacon, cheddar cheese, gravy, and creamy sriracha.
Yum.
Looking good. I don't know if you would eat that because of the sriracha.
Maybe not the sriracha, but everything else, I'm down.
Yes. And then one from our dear friend Punny, who has not been named.
Who was the other one from?
That was from Sammy. Thank you, Sammy.
Thank you, Sammy.
Follow Sammy on TikTok at Battle Dome.
Hell yeah.
For some sweet Ben 10 videos. And then this one is from Punny. Pigs in a blanket and coffee. I believe the pigs in a blanket were left over from the Super Bowl. And they were made with pepperoni slices and cheese sticks. You can tell this is from a couple of weeks ago because the Super Bowl was not recently anymore.
Which we'll talk about. Because we didn't get to talk about it. But I have some. Well, some of these are from mutual friends of ours. Actually, first Mike's friends, I should say. But I have the pictures. So our friends Ben and Melissa.
They're not just my friends. They're your friends.
They are
too.
my friends, but they were yours first. That's why I'm just saying.
It's true.
But it looks like they had some eggs and bacon slices, and they got drinks from Dutch Bros, which we don't have Dutch Bros.
Never heard of a Dutch Bros
here.
in my life.
I've heard of them. I think it's more of like a West Coast, or maybe
like
just
Midwest,
Midwest, or sometimes there's like fast food places that are own like literally everywhere else but New England, I feel like, because they'll have them in the South and they'll have them out West, but they don't have them in New England. So it might be one of those. I don't know the history of Dutch Bros.
That's because we have them like a borderline monopoly on the Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, but I think Dutch Bros just does like fast food stuff.
Maybe.
I don't know, but they look very delicious, the drinks. One looks like it might be a milkshake, or maybe it's just, I don't know, something like that. And then the other looks more like it might just be, could be like a lemonade. I don't know if they said. But there's also a Chobani, like one of those little Chobani adult Danimals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's also that for one of them, which are pretty popular. And then lastly, my classmate and friend Elizabeth, this was a few weeks ago as well, because as we said, a lot of these are a little bit old. Her breakfast when we were doing one of our assignments for class, where we all are in our little group together and we have to work to, it's called C mapping. I'm not going to get into it. But anyways, she has strawberry Pop-Tarts and a bottle of Pepsi. I don't know if it's like
Breakfast
the
of Champions.
Zero Pepsi or if it's just normal Pepsi. It's the black one. I don't know Pepsi. I just know diet and not. So some form of Pepsi. But yes, so thank you all for sending us your breakfast. We'd love to see that you up.
But yeah, eat breakfast if you up. It's very important. Most important meal of the day. And it's even more important now because you get to submit it to Real Breakfast Hours.
So submit, and you might be in the next one. You probably will, unless we start getting an absurd amount.
Yeah, once we start getting more than 10 or something, I don't think we're going to be able to do all of them in one episode. We'll form a backlog, first come, first serve, perhaps.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, how many subscribers are you at now?
Well, dear viewers, we are at 80 subscribers. 1 second. Oh my God. 80 subscribers. First of all, I love this. I don't know if you can see it. You probably won't be able to see it, actually. I doubt the camera will pick this up, but maybe if I do like this fancy stuff, it will. But there's a TikTok filter that's a soundboard, and it's got all sorts of silly sounds. Anyways, I am obsessed with this thing. We'll get into that more, but you might be hearing some of the sounds this episode because it makes me laugh so hard.
Yesterday we were playing video games in a party. There was 6 or 7 of us, and she was like dead between rounds or something. And she, without muting her microphone, you just start hearing, "Oh my God," from her head microphone, and her losing her mind laughing. And everyone's like, "Michaela, shut up." It
was too good.
She kept laughing.
So, if you want to make me laugh, get the soundboard thing. But that's why I'm going to be playing it sometimes. If it's annoying, I'm sorry, but this is my new thing right now. Also, to get back to the 80 subscribers, thank you all for subscribing. Tell your friends. We're 20 away from 100. That's proper math. And
quick maths.
Quick maths. And once we get to 100, I don't even know, but it'll be super cool. And 100 is just, we just need 10 more 100s, and then we're at 1,000. So yeah, it's really like a first milestone for us, other than like 50, but I think I already had 50 before we started Real Breakfast Hours. So this is pretty big. Thank you for subscribing, everyone. Please tell your friends to subscribe.
And to submit their breakfast.
Hopefully we'll get to 100 not too long from now.
Submit your breakfast for inspection. Breakfast inspection
day. So, where were we? The big question. Why has it been 2? Yeah, no, literally dead. So, last week, not like this week that just ended, but the week before, I had my test week. So the weekend, that first weekend after the Super Bowl, that we would have recorded normally, and we would have had one up. Well, I had 3 tests. Yeah, 3 tests on Monday. So there was no chance that I was going to record. I'm sorry, but I just couldn't do it. I had to study my little butt off because I really did not know what was going to be on the test. I mean, I kind of knew, but it's always some nonsense, okay? And I already felt barely prepared. So I really needed to hit the books. So we didn't have one that weekend. That was fine. We were planning to have one last weekend.
Wait, hold on. How did you do on your tests?
Well, I passed all my tests. I didn't have to retake any, so that's good. But yeah, that whole week...
More than some can say.
It is. That whole week is just... I think we have 6 tests in total that week. And not to get into it too much, but 3 of them, which are mostly the anatomy ones, are on Monday. And then for me, I had my next test, which is our clinical skills test, so making sure I know how to do a physical exam and that sort of stuff, because I'm in medical school. And we're doing GI and GU, which is gastrointestinal, genitourinary, that sort of stuff. So we had those tests. I had mine. They have different times. You get paired up with someone and you both have to show different things. Mine was Tuesday at 8 a.m. So not only did I have those 3 on Monday, then I didn't have a ton of time to study for the next one on Tuesday morning either. So I was really studying for like 4 exams over the weekend. And then I had my 2 final big exams that are 100 multiple choice questions each. And I have 2 hours for both of them. Well, 2 hours for one, 2 hours for the next. So like 4 hours in total, you know what I mean? Those are on Friday of that test week. I had those. The first one I felt was okay. The second one was awful, but again, I passed. I didn't have to retake it, so we're balling out. But yeah, it was a really stressful week for me. It was really busy, so I wasn't going to film Real Breakfast Hours that weekend before that test week, which is fine. Sometimes we have to take breaks for a week.
Make sacrifices.
What I didn't expect was to have to take another break the next weekend. Now, what we were doing that weekend, we did have a lot of plans, but we thought on Sunday we would still be able to film, and maybe it would just be up a little bit later. Like, maybe it would be up.
Yeah, hold on. I think you're getting ahead of yourself. So, test week.
Yeah, test week.
Then the Friday of that week, she's all done with her tests.
Yeah.
We hosted a murder mystery party night. We had a bunch of her friends over. I think there was 10 of us in total, including the 2 of us.
9? Yeah, 10.
10 total.
No, wait. 9.
There were 9 of us in total. Us 2 and then 7 of her friends from medical school. And it was nautical themed. I think we were supposed to all be on a boat. Everybody had names of seafaring individuals. My name, for example, was Ahab Whalesworth. And everybody had like a character sheet. My sheet is still hanging up on the fridge. You can't see it now, but old Ahab Whalesworth was an ex-sailor / fisherman who had a near-death experience, and it changed his worldview. So now old Ahab is an eco-warrior fighting for whales. I had her make me a couple of shirts for props because everybody was supposed to like look like their character. My character wore a shirt that said "Free Willy." He's actually quite oppressed, and then I had like a big text block of like a certain number of whales are killed every year in the wild. And when I was introducing my character, I was like, you know what? It is so hot in here, and I took off that shirt to reveal a second whale shirt underneath that said, "We are the sons of the whales you couldn't harpoon." So Ahab Whalesworth was fresh to death.
Yeah, I'll have to put in some pictures. So that was crazy because I got out of my test. I came right home. Well, I think I went to the store because I still had to pick up a few more things, but basically I came right home. And then I started cooking up a storm in this house in our little kitchen, and like the night before we had moved everything, so we moved our table into the living room because the kitchen is a little small, so there was no way we were fitting 9 of us in the kitchen. But when we pushed our couch against the wall and then we just had the table, we were definitely able to fit everyone. It was still a little tight, but it fit. So then I was cooking up a storm. For appetizers, I made crab canapes, and I have this Stephen King cookbook, and it's a lot of like Maine themed stuff.
Crabs, lobsters.
Yeah. So I had the crab canapes because, you know, we're nautical a little bit, so I thought that would be a good one. And then for dinner, like the main course, I made another thing from that cookbook, which was killer mac and cheese. So that's a little funny. And then I called them stab wound kebabs because, you know, you gotta stick with the murder mystery theme, right? But it was just like chicken. It was
killer mac and cheese, is because it's like murder.
But it is actually called that in the book. So like,
because he's a horror author, yes. Right? So.
But I made chicken kebabs also because one of my friends from school is vegetarian, so I wanted to make sure there was, you know, the mac and cheese, which was vegetarian friendly, and then the chicken kebabs, so there was a little bit more like meat substance for everyone else. And I made those, and then for dessert I had made cake pops, which I used red velvet cake so that it was red inside and then white on the outside, and I put a little bit of basically like food coloring that I dripped on so it looked bloody, because it was supposed to be beat to a bloody pop, like beat to a bloody pulp. And I also, this was probably one of the things I was most proud of, actually. Well, that and the mac and cheese, because the mac and cheese slapped.
It was very good.
But I was very proud of, I made these shots for us called Death on the Nile, because obviously. It was this blue curacao on the bottom. It's one of those shots where you have two, like it's stacked on top of each other. So it's super cool. It was blue curacao on the bottom, and then this Deep Eddies, like cranberry alcohol. I can't remember if
I believe it was vodka.
So it was vodka. Sorry, YouTube. We are 21 plus. All of us were. So it looked like, you know, blood on the water kind of thing. And I am not a bartender, and I've never done anything like that before, but I love the Tipsy Bartender's videos on YouTube. He's super cool. He's always funny, and they're really quick and easy. And I basically was like, a lot of times when you look for shots online, by the way, if there's going to be red and blue, a lot of times they'll do red, white, and blue for like 4th of July stuff. but it's always red on the bottom. So I was like, what the heck? And if you don't know, which you can probably figure this out yourself if you have, I don't know, like a high school biology education, whatever, physics, I don't know. Chemistry, something. It's really just based on the density of the liquids, or what they call the specific gravity, which is actually really interesting because I learned about specific gravity in med school for like urinalysis stuff, but I won't get into that. But basically, the one on the bottom has to be heavier than the one on top, or else it's going to flip-flop or it's going to mix or whatever. So I think the thing is that people usually do grenadine syrup for the red, and they put that on bottom because it's a syrup. It's a sugary, thick syrup. So it is obviously going to be the densest. But blue curacao is also pretty dense.
Because it's also kind of syrupy.
Yeah, it's basically, in an article I saw online, the more sugar it has and like the more syrupy it is, it's going to be heavier. So if you get just like a plain vodka, that's going to be the lightest, because like if it has high alcohol content and if it has low sugar content and that sort of stuff, like it's going to float well. So basically I was like, okay, well, we definitely are using blue curacao for the blue, because like that's the best blue thing you're going to get. But I needed to find a red alcohol that was red enough that, like, I didn't want it to be too bright, because I wanted it to look like blood. And it needed to float, though. So it needed to be not like a syrup or anything. So I was able to find that at the store, which was really good. And it wasn't too expensive. I mean, we did spend a lot for the party, but honestly, I think it was worth it because it was really fun. And I've never hosted a party before. I'll put in pictures of what we have. I didn't really take pictures of the food except for the shots, because I was just so busy.
Yeah, that was honestly my fault. I should have taken better pictures of the stuff, but we were having so much fun, and I was testing all of the alcohol products that were being made, so I was probably the drunkest person there.
Yeah. Oh, and we did make like a punch, like a jungle juice.
Yeah, it was just like a couple different kinds of cranberry juice and a bunch of vodka. It was probably like 1/4 vodka, maybe more. So the jungle juice was a bit strong, which is fine. That's what you want.
So it was a great night. It was a huge success. We had a lot of fun. So that was Friday night. Saturday, well, originally we thought we'll get up Saturday morning, we'll film, and then Sunday maybe I'll like edit it, or because Saturday night we went up to University of Maine for a hockey game with his dad.
Go Blue.
Yes, go Blue.
They won.
They did win.
They did win.
They beasted on Boston College, who were like really aggressive and kind of salty.
Yeah, there was a lot of slamming people into walls. There was one moment where it was like old school WWE, where you would have like two people fighting and the ref is looking at the fight. Meanwhile, like standing 3 feet behind the ref, somebody's getting hit with a baseball bat, and the whole crowd is like, "Ref, turn around!" But like the ref doesn't see it, so it's not illegal, right? Like it's not illegal if you don't get caught.
Yeah.
That was going on at the hockey game. There was a moment where the refs were both looking like left, and directly behind them, one of the main guys was on the ground, and the Boston College guy was like yanking his stick out of his hand, like trying to steal it from him, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
We go every year to a Maine game. They're tons of fun. We go, us two, my dad, and my dad's friend Chris. I've known Chris my whole life. He's like an uncle to me. Love you, Chris. So it's fun. We go all the time, and it gets very rowdy in that rink. There was 5,000 people in there, which it didn't feel like 5,000 people, but I looked it up, and that's the capacity. There was there was an ass in every seat. And they even made an announcement that, thank you for helping make this a sellout crowd or whatever.
Yeah, and they actually, because my parents talked about it too, I guess they had a news article or like maybe on the news they showed about it. So it was a thing that people in Maine knew about, that it was a sold out game, which is crazy because I honestly didn't think it would be like, Boston College to me isn't that like, I didn't think it was that big of a thing, but I mean, you actually saw that they're on a shirt of ours.
Yes, somebody was wearing UMaine, or rather not even just UMaine, any college sport in the country has rivals. There's so many colleges, there's so many sports. It's very common for people to have rivals. UMaine's biggest rival is UNH.
Wait. Sorry. Stinky UNH.
Stinky UNH. Boston College is apparently also on that short list of our rivals, which I was unaware of. Somebody was wearing a hoodie that said the good, and it had a picture of UMaine, the bad, and I had a picture of UNH, and the ugly, and I had Boston College.
Boston College was the bad. The ugly
my bad.
Was
the
UNH.
ugly was UNH, and the bad was BC. But so that was fun. People were very excited about that. And if you know anything about hockey, at least college hockey, they play 2 nights in a row. We were there on Saturday, so they would have also played on Friday. Maine also beat them on Friday, so
even
that's great.
A bigger win on Friday. It was 6-3 on.
Yes, it was a higher scoring game on Friday. 6-3 was, I believe, the final score, maybe 6-4. And then we beat them 2-1 on Saturday. And a couple of days ago, Thursday. On Thursday, Chris texted my father and I a page from the Maine Black Bears Facebook or something, where over those 2 days there was 9,915 fans in the stadium. So about 5,000 every night, which is really great. Also, the student section gets so ridiculously rowdy at this game. It's incredible. They harass the other goalie. They have guys who run around with their shirts off whenever Maine scores. Yeah. And they have an effigy of the ref that they dangle over the rink when the ref makes a bad call. It's pretty crazy.
YouTube, please.
I was choosing my words very carefully there. Dangle might not be the word for what they're doing for that guy, but I'm not going to say anything more.
Unfortunately, where we were, we couldn't see if they were doing it, but there was one part where the other side of the student section, because it's basically if your thing is like an oval, right? This side is where those fancy booth seats or whatever are for people who pay a lot. The other side of the rink that wraps around is the student section.
Yeah, on the second level, because there's the base level of normal seating, and then there's the booths and the students.
So we were here, so we could see the one side of the student section, but we couldn't see the other, which is the side where they always have all the crazy stuff. If they're having the effigy, that's the side that it's on and that sort of things. But we could see the other side. They do this thing where they kind of go like this. Or we're oh, we think they might be doing it right now, but we can't see.
Yeah, we couldn't see the dummy ref, but we could see the other half of the student section imitating him being swung from the rafters, so to speak. So we can only assume.
We can only assume it was happening, and we hope, because that's such a funny tradition. I mean, It's morbid, and probably they shouldn't do it, but, it's fun.
It's fun, and it's fine, and it's not like it's anybody in particular. It's just the ref.
Yeah. So that was really fun, and we actually stayed at a hotel up there for the night, which is why, even if we had filmed in the morning, I wouldn't really get a chance to edit it until Sunday. But we didn't film Saturday morning because we were just really tired, and we were it's fine. We can do it Sunday, and then we'll release it Monday morning. Maybe it'll be a day late or whatever. Well, Sunday came around. We didn't get home until probably 11 or something.
Yeah, maybe call it noon.
And I was dead tired because, again, we'd had a long weekend and we'd done a lot. So I was I'm taking a nap while I'm still napping. Basically, nothing. It wasn't happening that night. We even went out to eat because I was too tired to cook, basically. I was just dead tired Sunday. I felt so tired. I couldn't get over it. So we were whatever. Monday night, maybe we'll film it, right? And then we'll upload. I'll edit it Tuesday because I didn't have classes on Tuesday, because basically this past week, since it's after that big test week, is usually devoted to people who need to retake the test. And the Thursday of that past week, there had been a big snowstorm, so people's tests had gotten canceled that day, so some people had to retake, which meant that some of the content that we usually have to go in for on Wednesday and Thursday, even if we don't test, got canceled so they could retake their test. So the only day I had to go in last week was Monday. Well, Monday, I'm sneezing a lot, I'm stuffy, and I'm thinking it feels like my allergies, So it's I don't know why my allergies are out, but I wasn't taking my meds super good over the weekend because we were traveling a lot and we had the party and all this stuff. So I was well, it's probably because I forgot to take my allergy meds. As you might be able to hear, basically, it was not allergies. I ended up getting a cold. And so Monday night came around and I was not doing good. So Mike was like, just go to sleep. And I was like, okay. And then Tuesday morning I woke up and I had a horrible sore throat. And basically the rest of the week was shot because I was
Yes, she's been sick all week. And then yesterday morning I woke up sniffling. But over the course of the day I started to feel better. And I feel a lot better today than I did yesterday. I'm still a little congested, a little going on, but for the most part I feel fine. So she was definitely sicker than I was. She probably got sick and then got me sick, but since I wasn't dealing with all that stress, my immune system was a little stronger than hers, so it didn't hit me quite as bad.
Because it hasn't been, like, the worst, but it's not been fun. Like, I didn't want to do stuff, and I definitely didn't want to cook and everything, and I just wanted to rest so I could get better. And I really think I only got sick because my immune system was down from all the stress from the past week. Because if you didn't know, when you're stressed out, your immune system is like one of the first things that kind of gets pushed aside because they're like, whoa, stress is very bad for you.
Yes.
And we all know this, or at least like in med school, it's a big thing. They tell you not to be stressed. It's like every time I go to the doctor, I'm like, hey, I'm stressed all the time. And they're like, hey, don't be. And I'm like, well, I am in medical school, so I don't think that's what's leaving my life right now, but, you know, we'll work on it, I guess.
Anybody with a half-decent high school health class would know that stress is not good for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of half-decent high school health courses, I believe you saw a TikTok today where somebody was taking a pregnancy test the wrong way.
Oh, my God. I see these all the time. Listen, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah, pay attention, ladies.
It's not great. If you are going to do a pregnancy test, do not pee in a cup and then put the stick in the cup. You're supposed to take that stick while you're peeing, put it under the stream, okay? I know it's gross. You're probably going to pee on your hand, but have you ever had to, like, get a pee test, like a pee in a cup for, like, a urinalysis? Or if you thought you had a UTI, like, you need a clean catch. You don't want it to be, and also if you put it in a cup, then it's just sitting there and it's touching you're so much more likely to get a false, like, either positive or negative if you're just peeing in a cup and then you let that sit and then you put the thing in. Like, just pee on the stick so you get the cleanest catch and you get the most accurate results, and then you can be like, okay, I might be pregnant, or okay, I'm not pregnant. I mean, yeah, it's still not perfect, but you're making it worse, and you're making your chances of getting a false negative or positive like so much higher if you're doing things that is not how it's instructed. I'm pretty sure it does not tell you to pee in a cup and then put the stick in. It's you pee on the stick.
Also, gentlemen, if you, for some reason, like as a prank or something, decide to pee in a pregnancy test, if it's positive, you might have, I believe it's prostate cancer. So
yeah,
go get checked out if you ever do that.
And if you do that, don't put it in a cup either. Pee on it normally. Thank you. This is your public service announcement.
Yeah. We've kind of been going out of order on the things that we've been doing. We should have really started like right after the Super Bowl. The first thing we should have talked about should have been football. Football corner, baby. This is going to be the last one for the foreseeable future. I should have done this 3 weeks ago. 2-3 weeks ago. But Super Bowl. First things first, it was a very good game. I was very pleased with the caliber of the sport being displayed. I thought the commercials were kind of bad this year. There was not a single commercial that stood out to me. I feel like in years past, there was some pretty wacky commercials with like Puppy Monkey Baby. That commercial was probably the nail in the coffin. I think that was the last memorable commercial from a Super Bowl. Is Puppy Monkey Baby, and I hated that commercial.
The only one I heard people talking about after was that stupid Tubi one, where I guess I don't even think I was around for that commercial. I must have either been like getting food in the kitchen or something, or maybe I went to the bathroom. Did you see it? It's the one where it made it seem like someone had changed the channel. And
yes, I did see that because I remember people were like getting mad. Like some people I love football. I watch a good amount of football. I pay pretty good attention during this season. There are people who make me look like I don't even watch. there are people. I saw videos of people like attacking each other and attacking their television set during this. And one such example would be probably what you're talking about. That's probably how you saw it. The Tubi commercial came on, and it looked like somebody changed the channel. I heard people were getting like aggressive and screaming and like lunging for the remote and stuff because how dare you turn off the Super Bowl?
Beating their children.
Yeah, like what's wrong with you? Which, don't turn the Super Bowl off. But literally nobody had, and even if they had, violence.
That's what you're going with?
Yeah. Now we'll get to the next violence thing I saw, but the Eagles did lose. The Chiefs did win. I'm totally fine with that outcome. Eagles fans were not fine with that outcome. Part of the reason they were not fine with that outcome was that one of the last things that happened in the game was a holding call. It might have been pass interference, but regardless, Patrick Mahomes throws the ball. Guy's trying to catch the ball, gets held. They move the line up. Free touchdown, basically. Now, I'm of the opinion that, one, it was a hold. You can watch the replay. He did hold him. By definition, it was a penalty. However, it's the Super Bowl. It's a tied game. There's only like a minute 30 left on the clock. If you're the ref, you do not need to call that because it was a very loose hold. It was like one of these, Like, technically, that's a hold. But he probably wasn't going to catch that anyway. It was a very loose hold. Like, more aggressive things happen in the sport that don't get called all the time. That might not have been the call to make. But by definition, yes, it was a penalty, so technically it should have been called. But I think the Chiefs would have won anyway. All they needed to do was get a little closer, run out the clock a little bit, kick a field goal. I still think they win that game without that penalty. But after they did win, the next video of violence that I saw was somebody was recording their living room, and the game is up on the TV, and the Chiefs make their it might have even just been a field goal, I don't know, but regardless, I can't remember. It's been a couple of weeks. The Chiefs score the game-winning score. This guy like punches his television. He starts like wailing on the TV. It falls off the wall. People are backing away from him. The camera guy's shaking.
Oh my God.
People are like, "Oh, it was staged. Why was he recording?" Oh, probably because this dude is like 6 inches from the TV, standing up, looking at it like this as the Super Bowl is about to end. That's a pretty not strange thing to be recording, I would think. Him assaulting the television afterward probably wasn't super unexpected, just based on that guy. And you got to be a wild animal to be breaking your television over the Super Bowl. But we know Eagles fans
break their own city, so
yeah, they were greasing light poles in Philly for whatever the outcome was. They knew it was about to get rowdy in them streets, and I think it did. Rihanna halftime show, extremely mid halftime show. It is not going to occupy my mind for very long.
Yeah, not super memorable apart from the fact that everyone was like, "Oh my God, is she pregnant?"
She definitely is.
But she is. We found out, which yay, congrats, Rihanna. But I mean, so because of that, I kind of get why she wasn't like super energetic as we might expect, because I think people expect Rihanna to kind of go like a little bit more. But I enjoyed it. Like, you're right, it was kind of mid in terms of like there wasn't a ton of excitement, and normally with Super Bowls they'll bring out a bunch of people, like other artists to join, and there wasn't really any of that, which was a little surprising. But it's Rihanna, so her music's fun to listen to, and so I did appreciate that. And personally, I thought her backup dancers with their like silly outfits and their really big coats like looked hilarious. So like I kind of loved that, and I was out here like trying to dance like them, and I was like, I want an outfit like that. So it was fun for me, but I would agree it's definitely not the most exciting or memorable one there was, other than the fact that we were all like, "Yo, she pregnant?"
Yeah, and she had just given birth fairly recently.
I think like last year, like last May or something.
Her baby's birthday is actually the same as mine in May. So, it had then been like 8 months since she'd given birth, or something like that. Yeah, I think 8. So I'm like, I don't think she still has baby fat on her, especially considering she's a performer, and she's kind of expected to be energetic. You're gonna do the Super Bowl halftime show, right? So, if she knew she was gonna do that, I would imagine she would like get back in shape. But she had an obvious bump, and her outfit was like shaped in such a way that like you could see her belly, and it was very not revealing. Her outfit was very like more conservative, which that's her take or whatever. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but what I am saying is that a lot of these performers, especially the female performers, when they get up there, they show a little bit more skin, right? But if you're pregnant, that might not be the choice you make, and clearly she did not. So like a combination of her outfit choice and how long ago the baby was and how obvious like the bump was and how little she was jumping around, I was like, I'm like fairly confident she's pregnant again. And when I had to look it up, it was like the number one trending search on Google. Everybody was Googling, is she pregnant? And after the game, she confirmed that she was. So another Dubski in our corner. Last thing for the old football corner. After the game, or, a couple days after the game, whatever, because the team that wins always celebrates. Patrick Mahomes was like drunk, waving around the trophy or whatever, and people were blasting him for this. They were like, "Oh, what the hell?" Like old people when they see a 20-something-year-old kid drunk waving around a trophy that is like one of the biggest achievements in his life. He can't do that. But then Tom Brady, like, defended him on Twitter because when Tom Brady won with the Bucks a couple years ago, he was also drunk on a boat and he threw the trophy to another boat where Gronk caught it. And they were like, "You're disrespecting the trophy." Homie, he's got like 6 of those. So, I thought that was funny. This concludes football.
And with that, we're going to girl corner because I've got tea, if you will. If you've been on the internet, but especially on TikTok, you may have heard the Selena Gomez, Hailey Bieber tea drama, if you will. Now, what do you know about either of those two?
Well, I know Hailey Bieber is Alec Baldwin's daughter, right?
I don't think...
Or niece or something. She's related to him, I think.
Yeah, definitely like related because she was Hailey Baldwin. But
yes, so she's related to Alec Baldwin, obviously married to Justin Bieber. And who else did you say? Selena Gomez? Mm-hmm. She'll always just be a Disney Channel star for me.
Yeah, we love Selena, Alex Russo, Disney Channel, like, we're
Wizards
all...
of Waverly Place.
Dude, that was one of my favorite shows growing up. So we're ride or die for Selena Gomez, okay? Selena Gomez used to date Justin Bieber.
I did know that, too.
They were on... It was Jelena, okay? They always have the ship names for celebrities. It was Jelena. People... Back in the 2010s, Justin Bieber, like, all the girls went crazy over him, right?
Oh, yes.
We even had Cup for Bieber, right? So it was a thing.
Can I mention that real quick? If anybody ever argues with you as to what social media can and will do to, like, especially teenage girls who are glued to their phones, like, boys do it too, but I do think if you know any teenage girls, they're all over that social media. In the 2010s, somebody made up that Justin Bieber had cancer. It wasn't even real. But they started spreading it around online.
I don't even think it was that.
It was.
I think it was him, like, smoking marijuana.
Oh, that's what it was. It was Justin Bieber smoked some weed, and some people online, trolls, made up that, we should cut ourselves to support him in his weed smoking. So then a bunch of young girls started literally cutting their wrists to support Justin Bieber because somebody online told them to. That's how powerful social media is for some of these people who are always on it. It's wild.
So, Justin Bieber was, a very popular icon boy that, like, the girls love.
Heartthrob?
Heartthrob, yes. He was the heartthrob, okay? Half of the people on the internet were saying he looked like a girl. The other half were teenage girls going crazy for him. He's a heartthrob, but he was also dating Selena. So I think, like, some girls that really wanted to date him, the fans probably didn't like her that much, but also some people, like, loved them together, right? So, like, Jelena, all this stuff. They were, like, on and off again. But he, like, loved her, all this stuff. Hailey Bieber, Hailey Baldwin at the time, was a fan of Justin Bieber. She was like stalking him.
Oh.
She like would go. I saw this girl who ran like a fan page, and Hailey, she had receipts of Hailey Bieber during that time, like DMing her and being like, where is he? And then she'd be like, oh, I've heard that he's at this hotel. And then she went to that hotel. So like it's like well known that she was a big fan of him. And then people think that her family, the Baldwin family, arranged their marriage because he is Christian and she's Christian, I guess. And like, oh, they thought it would be good. So we already have that. That's weird. And by the way, so remember that Selena and Justin were on again and off again. The last time they broke up, like 2 months or 3 months or 4 months later, they got like Hailey Bieber and Justin Bieber, like they got engaged and got married. So, like, it's a very weird timeline.
Sheesh.
Now, that's already, like, okay.
So we don't have time to unpack all
It's
of that.
already weird. But there's also, throughout these years, many videos have surfaced of Justin Bieber not really treating her well. Like, there's a video of him, like, getting out of a car and then, like, basically slamming the door in her face behind him. You know, like, she hasn't even come out yet. And so, like, it doesn't seem like he likes her that much.
God.
And... by the way, do you know Yummy by Justin Bieber?
No.
It's like, girl, you got that yummy, yum. Yeah, it's a weird song. That's what he wrote for her. He came out with a song called Ghost of You. And so some people say it's for his, like, dead grandfather or something. But it's, like, kind of got the sexual undertone that people think it's about Selena. And Selena had released a song called Ghost of You prior. Like, she already has a song called Ghost of You, and he made a song called Ghost of You that seems romantically, and it's like, oh, no matter what, even if we're not together, like, I'll still love the ghost of you, or I don't know, something like that, right? So, there's all, like, this stuff that, like, everyone's like, Justin still likes Selena, like, he was way more happy with her than with Hailey Bieber, all this stuff. Okay, that's not even where the drama comes in. This is just revelations people have been talking about because of the drama. The actual drama is that Selena Gomez has gained some weight, and especially like in her face, because she has lupus, an autoimmune condition that she has to take steroids for. And if you don't know, steroids can make you really like puffy and can make you hold weight and stuff, because like that's what they do. But she needs the steroids for her treatment because it suppresses the immune system, which is literally attacking her. So like that's fine. And honestly, she hasn't gained like a ton of weight, but her face definitely has like, it's puffier, but that's just what the medicine does.
Yeah, it's noticeable, but it's not severe.
And,
right?
like, it's not like she's, like, obese or anything. She's just gained a little weight. But she still looks awesome. And she's still very, like, beautiful. And I don't think anyone could fault her in good faith for having gained weight when she literally has this condition.
MacLeod, nobody on social media is in good faith.
Well, certainly not Hailey Bieber, who with like Kendall Jenner or Kylie Jenner, or maybe both of them. So they had released a TikTok. Then there's a sound on TikTok that goes, and I'm not saying she deserved it, but I'm just saying God's timing is always right. And people were saying that they think that they made that about her gaining weight because some paparazzi or news article or something, or maybe Selena herself, she had like posted pictures of her in a bikini, which you can see that she gained a little weight. So people were saying that they made that about that, which I'm willing to say that maybe they weren't, but we know that Hailey Bieber doesn't like Selena Gomez because she's jealous of Selena Gomez, which we'll get into even more of that.
Oh, Christ.
But, okay, whatever. They said it's not about her. Okay, fine. We'll go with that. But then, Selena Gomez releases a TikTok where, you don't know what this is, but girls get their brows laminated now, which is like, they basically take stuff and it sticks it up, and I don't know. Anyways, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's a thing that some girls get done, so they get like the soap brow look. You don't know what that is? That's fine.
Just throwing words out here. Just making stuff up.
She posts a TikTok where she's like, I think they over-laminated them because they looked a little crazy. And then Hailey Bieber posts a screenshot with, like, again, I don't know if it's Kendall or Kylie Jenner, but one of the Jenner, like, girls that they're, like, on FaceTime, and it's a picture of their brows. So people are like, oh, y'all making fun of her brows now. So we're all like, okay, why are you coming for our girl Selena? So people are like in droves unfollowing Hailey Bieber, Kendall, and Kylie, all of them, because they're acting like mean girls, and we're not gonna stand for it because we're ride or die for Selena Gomez. And also, like, people liked her with Justin better anyways, and also, like, she's literally so sweet. She's never done anything. She was on the Disney Channel. She has her Rare Beauty makeup line, like all this stuff. Now, here's the other thing that people are saying, that they think that she's so, like, Hailey Bieber is so jealous of Selena because obviously she dated Justin first, and everyone kind of thinks that he liked her more than he ever liked Hailey, and people literally think that their marriage was arranged. Well, Selena Gomez had made a cooking show, right? I think maybe it was during the pandemic, but I don't know. I never watched it.
Probably not as good as the cooking show with Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart.
I mean, true, but after that, Hailey made a cooking show kind of thing. Oh. And also, Selena Gomez has a G tattoo behind her ear. Hailey Bieber got a G tattoo, like, that looks very similar. And, like
the letter G?
Yeah.
Why would somebody who doesn't have G as an initial?
Exactly. Isn't that kind of strange? So, there's just, like, a lot of things that, like, Hailey Bieber copies Selena. And, like, Selena Gomez had made her makeup line, and then I think Hailey Bieber made, like, a skincare line, which is infinitely less popular, because I see people using Rare Beauty products all the time on TikTok. They popped off. I went to Sephora the other day to try and get the blush, and they were, like, sold out. So she's doing very well. I've never even heard of Hailey Bieber's, like, skincare line until I was, like, seeing all these TikToks about the drama. So, that's the tea on that. Very interesting, if you ask me. Very curious.
Very wacky.
Wacky.
Quite wacky. That one was for the girls,
that
right?
That was for the girls.
Yeah. Incredible stuff. I'm so glad. I would say I'm so glad I don't follow celebrities. The closest I come to that is football, caring about what's going on during football season. But you know what actually makes me mad? Sometimes at work, I have a work computer, and you open a new tab. It's on, like, MSN or whatever. Mm-hmm. And MSN has all these little news articles. That's where I see the stuff that I talk about a lot of the time. A new tab, and boom, right in front of my face, Tom Brady defends Patrick Mahomes' drunken Super Bowl behavior. I'm like, oh, haha, that's funny. That'll be good to talk about. But recently, I've been seeing stuff from, like, football sources talking about Giselle. Like, I do not care what's going on with Giselle. She's Tom Brady's ex-wife. She does not belong in the football news space. I don't know why she's there. It's dumb, but regardless. We also went to the ice castles recently. That was another thing we did between the last episode and this one. Yeah. It was her gift to me for our anniversary. We had done something prior. I believe I took you out to dinner. Yep. We had a nice dinner. We talked about that weeks ago. But the ice castles was a little bit further down the line.
It was during that test week of mine, the Tuesday. So I had my test that morning. That night we went to ice castles.
Yeah. Super Bowl, tests 1 and 2, ice castle, the rest of her tests, murder mystery, hockey, illness.
Illness.
Now.
No.
So we've been busy. But the ice castle was great. We took a bunch of pictures. While we were driving there, it's 2 hours from here. An hour of the drive was totally fine. Then we got into the mountains on the old Kangamagis Highway. First of all, the whole time we were on that highway, I kept calling it the wrong thing on purpose. Like, the Kangaskhan Magnus the Red Highway, or the Kangaroo MAGA Highway. Like, just the whole time disrespecting this highway, which maybe I shouldn't have been doing, because the second we got onto it, it started snowing. It was before that. Bad.
Because we literally... So, the ice castles are in New Hampshire. We're in Maine. We literally crossed the border into New Hampshire, and I'm like, is it snowing? Because there was just, like, a few trickles, and I would see, like, little spots, and I was like, what? And he was like, I don't know. And then it became more obvious. He was like, oh, yeah. And then it got heavier when we got on the highway, but
it's like bad.
Basically, it had started as soon as we crossed into New Hampshire. But it got bad on the highway.
The snow was real bad. Bad enough that I was like, bro, Jesus, take the wheel. And no sooner did I say that than some guy in a white pickup truck pulled in front of us and then drove directly in front of us through the snow that we couldn't even see through for like 45 minutes. And the second we were done with the highway, he turned off and left. I was like, bruh.
Jesus?
Was that you? So, I had to say a quick thank you after that one, just in case. But he really was a godsend,
Yeah, so
for lack of a better word.
If you were driving in a white truck through the Kangamagus Highway at like 8 p.m.
When would that have been? What day was that? The 21st? On the 21st of February? Thank you. Thank you for guiding us through this, shepherding us through the snow. You guys, it's hard to describe how bad
and then you
was.
Turned off into like a steak dinner plaza place.
Like a steakhouse or something. Because the highway is so remote that the second you get onto the highway, there's a big sign that says, no food or gas for 30 miles.
You're just in the mountains.
You're just in the mountains for 45 minutes. The only way to go is back and forth. You can either turn around or go to the other side. That's it. So it was bad. But when we got to the other side, the ice castles were beautiful. Except for the parking lot, which was covered in mud. There was like 3 or 4 inches of mud.
It's crazy.
In the parking lot. It was bad enough that we're walking in and some kid was in the mud. He's like, mister, I'm stuck. And I was like, what? He's like, I'm like stuck. And I said, do you need some help? He's like, yeah, please. So I had to grab this 9-year-old and yank him out of the mud because his feet were in there. He could not get out under his own power. I had to yank him out of the mud. And he was like, thank you. And then he went and caught up with his family who just didn't hear him call for help.
I think they did, but they thought he was kidding around. Which at first, because they were in front of us, and I kind of thought he was too a little bit, but then we started to pass him, and his family was already going ahead, and then he was still stuck.
Yeah, and he got my attention. He was like, sir, please, I need help. I was like, oh, no problem, bud.
So,
but yeah, it was very muddy. But parking lot sucked. Driving there sucked. But the ice castles were glorious.
So beautiful. They had some food trucks that had poutine, which I love poutine. It's in my French-Canadian ancestry to love poutine, I think. So I got 2 things of that.
Some hot chocolate.
They had an ice bar, which was so overpriced, but you gotta do it.
You would expect it to be overpriced, and it was.
But it was really fun, and we had a good time, and it's really beautiful. So it was pretty much very perfect.
Everything I wanted from the trip.
Yeah, his username on PlayStation is Ice King Mike 8. So
going to the Ice King was at his ice castle, and I felt right at home. It was great.
Okay, we're back.
Just had to take a quick break to swap out the battery, things of the like. The last thing that we had mentioned was the ice castles.
Yep.
So your turn, I guess, to pick something.
Well, just some quick little headlines that have been out there recently that I thought were interesting, to say the least.
I'm looking at this one on her computer here, and I'm like, oof.
First of all, Packers Sanitation Services, Inc., which is a food safety company, which is a little ironic because they employed more than 100 children and they had to pay a $1.5 million penalty because of that. And the kids were as young as 13 years old in dangerous jobs at meat processing plants. So funny that they're a food safety company because that ain't very safe. But yeah, it says that they found children ages 13 to 17 had worked overnight shifts at 13 meat processing plants in 8 states, mostly in the South and Midwest.
Me when I'm 14 and I got to get to my 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. shifts.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're back in the early 1900s or what.
Industrial Revolution.
Because not only do we have that fun fact, we also have that Mississippi has had a 900% increase in newborns that have to be treated for syphilis. If you don't know what syphilis is, which you probably do, it's a sexually transmitted infection, which basically means that moms were giving birth to kids and they got it from that. So moms that had the infection gave birth, now the baby has it. And literally one of the quotes from this article says, "This seems like something that should have happened 100 years ago, not last year." And it's basically, it was over 5 years, there's been a 900% increase. And it's also apparently the state that already has the country's worst infant mortality rate. So this ain't helping that.
This goes hand in hand with the people who didn't know how to take a pregnancy test correctly. It sounds like the sexual education is not what.
Sorry.
Sounds like it needs to be improved in some places.
Yeah, I'm not...
Or pay more attention, I guess. I don't know.
Not to get too political, but I'm just gonna say, I don't think it's a coincidence that a state that probably does not have very good sexual health classes, if any at all, certainly probably is abstinence only if they do have it, also doesn't have a lot of OBGYNs in the state. Why is that? I don't know why the state in the South, given the recent state of things in the country and recent Supreme Court decisions, doesn't have a lot of OBGYNs. Also has a 900% increase in babies born with syphilis and also the worst infant mortality rate in the country. I don't know. I just don't think it's a coincidence.
What the hell?
Sorry. It's just a fun fact for you.
There was a big pause between when you went to use your soundbite, because I guess you have to hit record before you can activate the sounds. So it was like, I don't know. What the hell? There was 3 or 4 seconds of just silence.
I always forget. Unless you're living under a rock, you probably heard about all the train derailments that have caused lots of bad chemicals to be spilling everywhere around the country, but particularly in Ohio. What is it? Palestine, East Palestine, Ohio, or something like that, which is kind of interesting.
Irony.
But here's a little thing from The Guardian. Apparently there's leaked audio that showed that U.S. rail workers were told to skip inspections for the trains, and then oh boy, it derailed, and now they have a huge issue, and there's acid rain, and it's not good.
Yeah, people are getting sick over there, and the government is not, the federal government isn't doing anything about it. Well, our president is in, Ukraine or whatever, which, not to take anything away from that, but Americans are dying because of this. Can we do something about it, please? And the answer is no, I have other things to do.
Which realistically shouldn't be that surprising, considering the whole Flint, Michigan thing has been going on for 10 years now or something?
Yeah, they don't care.
It's not great.
Yeah, and this is after Biden had, we talked about this before in one of the previous episodes, maybe number 1, 2, or 3. There was a rail worker strike where they were calling for better regulations and better time off. And Biden ended the strike and didn't give them either of those things. Shocking that there was a rail strike that was squashed by the federal government, and now people are dying because of poor rail conditions. And I think Donald Trump might have also been involved in poor rail conditions, he might have stopped some initiative to redo them. But clearly it's not a partisan thing if Biden also then stepped on the rail workers strike.
Yeah.
It just seems like they don't care at all.
What you need to understand, my fellow Americans, is that people in power do not care about you very much, no matter what side they are on usually. I'm not going to say everyone doesn't, because I do think there are some people that genuinely make an effort to try to improve things, especially I think probably more of the local ones you'll have that are actual real people. But I'm just saying a lot when you get to president level, at least in the past few years, I mean, for us personally, like, we're not really happy, or at least I'm not happy with Trump or Biden, really. And I don't think a lot of the current, like, Congress people, I'm not really happy with them because there's all these issues, and basically common people get squashed already by big companies and CEOs and, like, rich people, and the government, who theoretically should be doing more to regulate that kind of stuff, doesn't. So you get monopolies, with, like, you know, Disney buys out everything, and all these, like, media companies that are just, like, one company has control of a million different things, and you can get it with other stuff too. Monopolies, like fossil fuel companies making tons of money and jacking prices up for things, landlords jacking up prices for things, and it all just leads to the normal everyday man, and especially the middle class, being completely squashed because they don't care. It's really just keep the rich rich and the poor poor.
Yeah, it's all about that sweet GDP. You know, and I do think it's always been an issue, but probably worse in recent memory, because even as recently as, like, President Carter, dude was like 90 years old and he showed up in person to help rebuild houses in Katrina because he seemed to care a bit more. You know? Did you never hear about that?
Well, he wasn't president during that.
I know that.
Okay.
I'm saying
He went,
when
though.
Katrina happened,
Okay, yeah.
he showed up in person to, obviously he wasn't president anymore.
Yeah, but the government totally flopped with Katrina too. So.
Yeah, it was just another thing. It's, oh no, catastrophe. Let me have the worst response imaginable.
Yeah. It really is one of those things where when there is a big either natural disaster or something like this with chemicals and the water and things like that, you just got to realize at this point that the government is not great at addressing large-scale disasters like that, and it really sucks for people because a lot of those people living in those areas don't have enough money or resources to move away from it. So, and then they're just getting
bodied.
Yeah. Their health's affected. They're probably they have to spend more money because they can't use tap water and stuff like that. So now they have to, like, spend money on bottled water and things like that. And also just risking their health, like even just taking a shower in that water. So it's a huge burden to people who live there, but there's also, like, no support for them to be able to move away. And a lot of these people that live in these areas where these types of things happen, it really never seems to happen in, like, you know, freaking, what's that place that, like, rich people go to?
The Hamptons?
Yeah. You don't see this stuff happening in the Hamptons where people could actually, like, afford to leave. It's always, like, in places where people cannot afford to get out.
You know, maybe if they changed their name to East Israel, Ohio, we would send them some money.
Whoa.
I think that's the people that we send the most foreign aid to every year, isn't it?
I don't know.
Or at least we send a couple billion to them every year, so I would imagine.
Yeah. So, not great. I'm so sorry to everyone in Ohio.
Yeah, that sucks. You know, one, you have to live in Ohio. And two, now it's even worse.
Yeah, you already were living in Ohio, so,
yeah, so
sorry about that, y'all.
Not going well.
Am I the asshole for announcing my pregnancy at my sister's wedding?
Yes. Positively foul behavior. I don't even feel like I need to know the rest. I just know I would be so angry with you if you did that.
Yeah. Someone else's wedding is not the place for you to propose to your girlfriend, announce a pregnancy. Anything about you, we don't care.
If it's taking attention away from the bride and groom, don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't imagine what context they could propose, but as we all know, context is for fools.
Yeah, and for those of you who are absolute goons, don't wear white clothes. Don't wear, like, a white dress if you're a girl. Don't wear jeans to a wedding unless, like, they're themselves are like, oh yeah, but even then, don't do it. Like, you've got to have the most chill wedding for someone to actually be able to wear it, like, unless the bride and groom themselves are wearing jeans. Like, do not wear jeans to a wedding. And I see a lot of girls on TikTok post things where they're like, do you think this is okay? And they're like, it's not white, and it's like the lightest gray,
like cream,
or
yeah.
like a cream thing. Don't even listen, you better be wearing a very solid color. In fact, you're better off just wearing a dark color. So, do not get even close to white. You better stay below pastels, okay? If it's pastel, don't wear it unless it's like a garden theme thing, but make sure it's like definitely a color. Like it's got to be like a light green or blue that you can tell that's that color.
Visibly not white.
Yeah. I don't want to see I don't want to see cream. I don't want to see grays. I don't want to see any even like a light yellow. Like it might be too close. Okay, so don't be wearing those really, really, really light colors. And yeah, like I'm all for those weddings where people are like, yeah, my friend's gonna have like a bottle of red wine, and if you come up with that, you're either gonna change or you're getting
the maid of honor at our wedding is gonna have a bottle of wine to dump on any women wearing white, and the what's his name, the head groomsman, the best man, he's about to be ejecting people wearing jeans. So
yeah, you gotta have the usher.
you've been warned. But yeah, let's read this. Even though I already judged this book by its cover, but. Yeah. Let's see if they can change my mind.
I'm 32. My sister is 28, and we've always been incredibly close. Point in case, she was the first person I told that I was pregnant, besides my husband, of course. I told her essentially a week after I got a positive pregnancy test, which was about 3 months before her wedding. I told her that I was going to tell our parents and my husband's parents around the 10-week mark, but she told me that I should hold off until her wedding in September. I'd be like 4 months along at that point, so I wouldn't be showing really, and she thought it would be so special for her to be able to make an announcement about a special guest at her wedding and it be her first niece or nephew and my parents' first grandbaby. I agreed because it seemed like it meant a lot to her, and again, we're super close, and I was happy to do that for her. Turns out, the first trimester was awful with morning sickness and exhaustion. I would have preferred to be able to talk about it with my mom, but I was willing to grin and bear it for my sister's wedding. Well, the wedding came along, and about halfway through the night, I asked her when the announcement was happening. She told me that she had changed her mind and that her wedding didn't seem like a good time or place to announce my pregnancy. I was obviously super upset since I went through a really awful first trimester with only my sister and husband to lean on. I decided I wasn't going to put the announcement on hold any longer just for her, so my husband and I pulled my parents aside and quietly told them to keep it private for the evening. That's your first mistake. Parents will never keep stuff private.
True.
They were thrilled, lots of hugs, a few tears, but a very touching and private moment. Literally no one else found out until I announced it on Facebook a week later. My sister found out around the same time as my Facebook post when my dad mentioned how we told him about it. And she texted me and called me a bitch who made her wedding about myself, and she hasn't spoken to me since. I've messaged her and apologized probably a dozen times since then, but she refused to talk to me, and now she refuses to come see her little nephew who's almost a month old at this point. My parents and partner think I did nothing wrong since she went back on her word, and that I should just wait it out and she'll come around. I'm obviously unsure as clearly this has made her so upset with me, and we were so close before. Am I the asshole? And there's also an edit. It says, I've seen a lot of comments saying that I was trying to be petty, mean, vindictive, spiteful, hurt my sister, etc. And I just wanted to address that really quickly. If I had been any of those things, I would have made sure she found out that I had done it, you know? She had just happened to find out a week later because my dad let it slip. I just desperately wanted to tell my mom, and after waiting over 2 months for my sister, it really felt like I couldn't wait another moment at the whims of someone who wasn't even involved in the pregnancy. I understand now, though, that I definitely should not have waited to tell my mom about the pregnancy. Hindsight is 20/20 and all that.
Well, the context did help. My initial thoughts on that are, one, yeah, you don't need to wait to tell your mom that you're pregnant, you know? Like, how many weeks was this that she waited to tell her mom?
Like a few months, I think.
That's a long time to not tell your own parents that you're pregnant, which I understand it was because she had planned to announce it here. And initially she did have the support from her sister.
Yeah.
But if you've already waited 2 months or however long, you can't just wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of weird that she's like, well, she told me not to, but I'm going to do it anyways. And yeah, like, I just told my parents.
And it was small.
But, like, first of all, I would not dare, at a wedding, when there's all sorts of family around, be like, hey, Mom, I'm pregnant, but don't tell anyone, because I know, and probably your family is like this too. Like, I find it remarkable that the parents didn't actually go around and tell anyone else, because as far as I know, like, my mom has always done that thing where, like, I whisper to her and then, like, loudly out, like, she'll say the thing that I was trying to be discreet about. So it's very surprising to me that they actually didn't tell anyone. So that's not a risk I would take. I probably would have just told my parents anyways, because, like, for the announcement to be, even, like, when the bride was still on board with it, like, oh, you should tell the family at my wedding, that seems more like extended family announcement than, like, just your mom or dad. Like, presumably you see your parents a lot. I mean, maybe not, but, like, at least they probably want to call or something. Like, I get that a lot of these family members you probably only see once a year or something, right? So, or maybe not even that. So it would be a good place to announce that if the bride was open to it, which I can't even imagine being a bride open to that, but whatever. So I probably wouldn't have waited to tell the parents. I don't think I would do this anyways. But also, like, if she says, no, don't do it, like, literally just wait a day. And she says she wasn't trying to be spiteful but, like, then why didn't you just listen to her?
Yeah, and, like, it's definitely not as bad as I thought it would be from the initial title. I just assumed that she, ding, 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 I'm pregnant, everybody, haha, at a wedding, which obviously she didn't do, so this is definitely better than what I worried it could be. But I do think she handled it poorly. I think maybe asshole isn't the right word for it, but I do think she was in the wrong.
Yeah. And, like, obviously the sister that got married is being pretty dramatic about it.
Definitely.
Like, I mean, if you've already apologized a lot, then at some point she should just, like, accept it. But I get why she would be mad about that, because she told you not to, and then you did it. And even if it was small, like, it could have very easily become a bigger thing if your parents had decided to tell someone. And also, like, she just didn't want you to do that then. So maybe just don't, because even if they didn't tell anyone else, then now the rest of their night they're probably not focusing on the girl getting married as much as, oh my god, our other daughter is pregnant. And from what I hear, like, parents get very excited about having grandkids, so
It's true. We could do one more and then wrap it up, I guess. Alright, so we found another one. This one is, am I the asshole for telling my friend to stop using me as a scapegoat to justify her cheating boyfriend? That's not good. Cheating bad. So let's read this one. So I, 23 female, broke up with a long-term boyfriend, year and a half, around a month ago. I am close with a friend, S, 24 female, and her boyfriend, A, 24 male. They have been together around a year. A has always been touchy, flirty with me. Ergo, one time at a party, he told me to sit in his lap as there were no spaces. I always thought of it as his character, as my friend never used to mind. My ex-boyfriend did mind, so I was happy to ignore and maintain some respectful distance. 3 days ago, on my way home, I got a text from A that him and S had leftover food if I wanted. I said yes, thanked him. He said he would bring it over. He came over alone to give it and started lingering. I started plating the food, but found it odd that he was just watching me. He was being flirty, so I started recording using an app in case it would backfire on me, as S tends to always side with A. He said he couldn't stop thinking or worrying about me and was glad I broke up with my ex. I laughed it off and said, don't worry, I'm good. This person's using a lot of abbreviations. I'm good. He said he wanted to do something but was afraid he'd get slapped. I said what, and he kept saying nah, but after I kept asking what, he leaned in super close and said he wanted to kiss me. I shut him down, said that's wrong, he's with S. He immediately apologized, said it was out of line, said he was not thinking straight, and left. Next day, I call S. She comes with her cousin as they were out. I tell her privately, but she wants cousin to hear too, so I play...
I think it's voice note.
Oh yeah, voice note. So I play the voice note. She's pissed. I tell her I'm sorry and stroke her back, but she abruptly asks me what I was wearing, tank top and shorts. She asks with or without a bra. I find this rude and say with, but it doesn't matter as I wasn't trying to seduce him. It was the opposite. She said that wasn't the case and turns to her cousin and says, wasn't she pushing him to get the answer she wanted? The cousin says she's sitting this one out. I say I didn't push him, I just gave him the opportunity to say what he wanted and that other girls wouldn't stop themselves if they didn't know her. So he was the issue. She said that I was. She said I pushed it because I knew I could get him as I liked the attention, and I have said it myself. I have been partying lately and have said before I like the attention from caps lock single men, as I am also single. I said not from your taken boyfriend, and that she knows how many times I have refused to hang out with him alone. S said he only does it with me, and I have always been the only girl who's an issue, and then looked at her cousin who nodded. I was annoyed, so she noticed that he did but never said anything. I said that I have done everything that I could to refuse/dismiss him nicely. I didn't push him to say that, and she was using me as a scapegoat to justify staying with A, as he could do no wrong for her. They left angrily. I haven't told other friends about this as I don't want to spread S's business, but feel really shitty about what I said. Cousin texted my sister saying I was basically setting him up to cheat. Am I the asshole? No.
No. Whoa, your friend, is it S that's the girl? Or no?
Yeah, S is the girl,
S
A is the guy.
Well, S, she's coping hard, I would say.
Season coping for sure.
How do you not realize that your boyfriend is the problem? First of all, this is like a classic blame the victim thing where you're like, oh, no.
What were you
wearing? First of all, he's the one in a relationship. She's not. This is the kind of thing where, like, yes, some girls will trifle and will come for a taken man. But if she's your friend and she's saying that, like, he's been doing this stuff even when she was in a relationship and she always tried to, like, be like, hey, stop. And then she even took a voice note because she knew he was probably on some weird stuff. But you're like so blindsided and you just don't want to believe that your boyfriend is sucky and a cheater and obviously has a thing for her. Honestly, if he's a cheater like this, he probably would do this with other girls too, but obviously you don't see any of that anyways because you can't even see when it's this obvious with your friend. So, yeah. S needs to, like, wake up, get a reality check. A is a crappy, cheaty boyfriend, and I would say that you are not the asshole. And honestly, I don't even think it's an asshole thing to say that she's using you as a scapegoat. Like, it's not like you even were rude about it. It doesn't sound like.
Yeah, she just doesn't want to accept that her boyfriend is like this. And there are scenarios where, like, it's not the boyfriend's fault, but it still is. Like, you still have to take responsibility for your actions. Even if she was, like, trying to seduce him, he still said those things.
Yeah.
So even if, like, she was entrapping him, he still took the bait, which is bad.
And, like, if he'll do that, like, with your friend, he'll do it with probably any girl that tries it. So it's, like, really the kind of thing where unless, like, she literally kissed you and you were just like, oh my god, and, like, pushed her off, like, that's, but, like, if you're taking the bait and being like, yeah, I want to kiss you and stuff like that, like, you are the cheater. Yes, the girl, if she was, like, trying to seduce him, is not good either, but at the end of the day, he is the man in the relationship, and, like, if you're gonna cheat, like, that person is the big problem. Like, girl, a lot of times when people are in a relationship and someone cheats, like, their partner cheats on them, they'll go after the person they cheated on them with, which half the time I don't think that person even knows that that person was in a relationship. Yeah. Like, a lot of times people will be like, no, I'm not dating anyone, and then they'll cheat. And so that person that they cheated with doesn't even know for, like, it's not always, and a lot of the time I don't think it is, that they're purposely going after a taken person. They don't know.
Right.
So it's always weird to me that people will go after the person that, like, is the other woman or the other man. Like, no, you need to look at the person that is supposed to be committed to you. At the end of the day, they are the most responsible. Even if someone is trying to seduce them, yeah, you can be mad at them and you can be like, that's a crappy thing and I hate you or whatever, but you should also look at your partner who did the cheating.
Mm-hmm. We, so obviously in this scenario, it's entirely his fault. She did nothing wrong. Definitely not the asshole. Even in a scenario where a woman is trying to seduce you, which you're taken, we must stay focused, brothers. We must. We cannot fall for these tricks. I know it gets cloudy sometimes, put it that way, but You got to be better than that. And if you're not better than that, it's still your fault. It's just like if you're drunk and you get in your car and hit somebody, it's still your fault, you know?
Yeah. So you're not the asshole. The other person, kind of the asshole. Not like quite an asshole, but like not great. So those are our verdicts for today.
Yes. Both unfortunate situations.
Yeah. So I guess that is a Real Breakfast Hour 6.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah. Send us your breakfast. Let us know that you up. Subscribe.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Like, comment, hit the bell. We'd love to get some more comments on our videos. And we'd also like to get just more engagement in general. I think the more engagement you get, the more likely YouTube is to suggest it to other random people.
You need that algorithm on our side for sure.
We need that algorithm because, like, if we want to get to 100 subscribers, we're gonna need some outside people. We're gonna run out of friends. So, please share the video with your friends, or just like, comment, send us your breakfast. My Instagram at Mickey_Gervais, or if you're our friends that have our numbers, obviously you can just text it to us or Snapchat us or whatever. Send us your breakfast. Let us know what you think. If you have any questions for us you want us to address, if you want advice, or if you have ideas for us for future like end of video activities, just let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. Thanks for 80 subscribers, and we'll see you in the next one.
We'll try not to take several weeks before recording number 7.
Yeah.
We'll see you then.
See you. Bye. Bro, why the coffee pissing though?